The millionaire humiliated an old man on the plane, but 6 months later, she was denounced and publicly humiliated. In an international airport where noises and announcements mingle with hectic daily life, an extraordinary episode occurs. While a millionaire mercilessly humiliates an old man, destiny has something unexpected in store for him. This is the essence of a story where a shocking twist and divine justice intertwine to show how instant karma can dispel prejudice against the meek. Stay with us until the end, and find out how the millionaire's arrogant attitude and contempt for him led to a surprising turn of events. Prepare for a story that combines emotion, improvement, and inspiring life lessons. Don't miss the details of this journey that promises to change your view of justice and redemption. This summer morning, the international airport was bustling with activity. Passengers walked along wide corridors, enjoying the frenetic rhythm of the city that never sleeps, as announcements blared over the public address systems, and a mix of voices and melodies permeated the atmosphere. In the midst of this ordered chaos, a calm-looking man stood out, Sebastian Miller. He wore simple clothes and a straw hat showing signs of age. His steps were slow and steady, marked by years of hard work on the field. He carried an old suitcase and a folded paper envelope containing news that could have changed the course of his life. Fascinated by the innovations and contrasts of the world around him, Sebastian observed every detail with curiosity. It was his first flight, and his senses were filled with wonder and fear. The rough touch of his calloused hands reminded him of his days under the sun and on Earth, while the technology and luxury of the airport introduced him to a world far from routine. As soon as he arrived at the boarding counter, he handed over his ticket with gestures that testified to a simple life but rich in history. As the clerk checked her ticket, he smiled warmly and told her destination would be first class. Sebastian was surprised. He hesitated about this information and wondered if it was a mistake. The employee confirmed the truth of the data and, still not understanding the course of events, boarded the plane, without imagining that this flight would be an amazing experience that would forever change the course of his life. We are only at the beginning of this inspiring story, so stay with us until the end and find out how, despite seemingly impossible situations, Sebastian found the strength to change his life and inspire everyone around him. This story, full of surprising details, will surprise you on every page and make you think about the essence of courage and perseverance. Upon entering the departure hall, there was an atmosphere of contrasts. The brightness of the digital screens mixed with the murmur of travelers, creating an almost cinematographic scene. Sebastian's attentive gaze focused on every corner, capturing the majesty of this place. At that moment, destiny prepares an unexpected encounter for him. As he approached the chic neighborhood, his eyes met Laura Johnson, a woman from the capital who exuded high-end sophistication. His blue eyes observed his surroundings with a subtle and detached criticism, expressing an attitude combining elegance and a touch of contempt. When she noticed Sebastian's presence, her expression hardened and an earthy smell assaulted her senses, making her question the man's origins. Laura quickly made it clear that you were going too far, and that the line you were on was not the right one. In a calm voice, Sebastian confirmed that his place was on the list in this sector. The employee, under the pressure of the situation, intervened and, under pressure from Laura, requested that the farmer be transferred to economy class. Despite the silent indignation on his face, Sebastian accepted this decision with a calm that was surprising in its simplicity and dignity. Yet mixed emotions bubbled within him, a mixture of resignation and a slight spark of defiance that had yet to surface. The atmosphere of the plane, where an unexpected role reversal had occurred, began to exude an air of mystery and uncertainty. As passengers took their seats, Sebastian found a little refuge in the last row of economy class. There, he discreetly took out of his pocket the envelope he had had with him since the start of the trip. Its contents, which included medical tests, revealed the harsh reality of an illness that limited his days. The diary, full of letters informing him of the shortening of his life, did not bring him peace, but also made him think deeply about the value of each moment. If you are curious about the outcome of this story, subscribe to the channel so as not to miss the next steps in this exciting story that reveals surprises and unexpected lessons. Destiny, inexorable and serene, brought events beyond the claustrophobic environment of escape. 6 months have passed and life in the cozy cafe has taken on a new form. Laura, a young woman with a radiant smile, was waiting for her friend Daniel. The atmosphere was cozy, and the soft light coming through the windows stimulated the conversations of the regulars. With a sincere look, Daniel decided to tell Laura some news that had remained secret for a long time. He revealed that he wanted to introduce her to his family and that it would be a big step in their relationship. Laura was extremely happy because she knew that Daniel was the man she wanted to spend the rest of her life with. As the conversation continued, Daniel was excited to announce this milestone in their relationship, and the smell of coffee filled the room. Laura was torn between the joy of the moment with Daniel and the new phase of her life, and the challenge of meeting the expectations she had for the new business she was involved in. Driven by interests that went beyond material values, she sought to acquire a farm in the region. It was an arrangement she had thought about for a long time, with the goal of getting closer to Daniel and experiencing something together. However, his desire to transform the farm into a profitable operation was systematically rejected by the owner, a simple farmer who saw in the land the legacy of a life dedicated to cultivation and the preservation of traditions. The refusal, filled with a sense of pride and connection to nature, caused Laura not only frustration, but also a bit of insecurity that prevented her from fully understanding the intangible value of the farm. The next day, something unexpected happened. Laura, determined to personally resolve the impasse that had arisen between her and the farmer's inheritance, personally went to the farm to speak to the owner. Daniel was there to accompany him. When he got out of his luxury car in front of the farm, he noticed that the landscape was impressive, the immensity of the fields, the vegetation that extended without limits, and the atmosphere full of stories of battles and conquests. As he got closer, his gaze fell on a man whose silhouette, although marked by the elements of time, radiated a serene power. For a moment, he did not recognize the old man with the simple features and calm gaze, as if his familiarity had been obscured by the different situations in which they found themselves. But as the details emerged, Laura's face paled as she recognized the person who had been the object of her scorn a few months earlier. Laura remembered that the owner of the property she was interested in was the man she had harassed on the plane a few months earlier. For his part, Sebastian recognized Laura as soon as he got out of the car. How could he forget the face of the person who had recently guided him through an unprecedented situation in his life? The encounter brought back memories of humiliation and wounded pride, and revealed the complexity of a coexistence in which past and present were intensely intertwined. Even after the two recognized each other, their next encounter was not an argument about the subject, but rather looks and gestures that told stories. They talked as if nothing had happened. Laura led the conversation, getting to the point and focusing on business matters. Daniel arrives on the scene and witnesses Laura's attempt to take control of the property, which is purely financial in nature. After a long conversation, there was a moment of silence. In the midst of this silent confrontation, Sebastian, with a calm expression and moved by a feeling that seemed stronger than the situation could explain, calmly began to present his defense. The land he had cultivated all his life was more than just a material possession. It was a synthesis of memories, efforts, and dreams. As he spoke, he became very emotional. He remembered every part of his life, and how every tree, every fence, every detail of the farm told the story of not only this place but his life. Visibly shaken and with a trembling voice, he asked for a break in the conversation to compose himself. When he told him he needed water, Daniel offered to accompany him to the kitchen, and Sebastian accepted. In a short and emotional conversation, Sebastian tells Daniel about the real reason for selling the farm. As much as she loved this place, which in each room told the story of a moment in her life, she told Daniel that she had recently undergone tests that had given her devastating news about her health. Test results showed he had little time left to live. Sebastian then decided to sell the apartment to pay for the treatment and still have a chance to survive. In doing so, the farmer aroused a compassion that transformed a climate of hostility into one of understanding and respect. Back in the room where Laura was, Daniel asks for a few minutes to talk to Laura alone, and the two leave the house for a while. Later, Daniel talks to Laura about Sebastian's health. Laura is excited and remembers everything she did on the plane 6 months ago. She is overcome with guilt and self-loathing, and bursts into tears at the same time. Daniel comforts her, and a little later she regains her strength, and they join Sebastian in the living room. Now Laura has the conversation in a different way. Laura's change of heart, driven by discovery and the pain of hurting someone with such a rich history, seemed to herald a new phase in the story. Laura, still shocked by the discovery and sensing that Sebastian was visibly moved, suggested that they come back another day to continue the conversation. From then on, Laura began visiting the farm more often, allowing her to soak up the atmosphere she previously found unsatisfying. Walks in the countryside and contact with nature awaken unknown feelings in her, make her reflect on life's priorities and rediscover the beauty of values that go beyond materiality. We're nearing the culmination of this journey, and if you haven't left a like yet, this small gesture will go a long way in helping more people follow these life-changing stories. Like it now so we can continue sharing inspiring stories like this. On a quiet afternoon, as the sun set gently over the fields, Sebastian and Laura found themselves in a quiet corner of the farm. There, among the smell of wet earth and the soft murmur of the wind, the two devoted themselves to talking about what happened on the plain. In a calm voice, Sebastian spoke calmly about the impact that this event had on his life, worsening Laura's feelings by saying that day she learned that she was suffering from a serious illness and that the chances of surviving the treatment were very low. However, Laura, moved by a feeling of true pain, expressed her pain and tried to understand the true meaning of this moment. The dialogue, conducted with sincerity and understanding, allowed Laura to eliminate traces of pride and prejudice, creating a space of forgiveness and admiration for the heritage brought by an ordinary person. For his part, Sebastian showed sincere forgiveness, very motivated by this moment, which made him understand that life is fleeting and that forgiveness depends more on the way we want to live than on the actions of the other. Following this transformative conversation, the two men signed a symbolic agreement, sealing the deal and establishing that the future of the estate would be pursued together. This way, Sebastian will have the necessary resources to heal, Laura will be able to live near Daniel, and both will work on the farm. Over time, Laura not only understood the magnitude of Sebastian's legacy, but also became deeply committed to building a future that combines tradition and innovation. The farm became the site of an ambitious irrigation system modernization project aimed at helping smallholder farmers and boosting agricultural production in the region. The project, called Projeto Sebastian, combined traditional techniques with innovative methods, demonstrating that the wisdom of the past can go hand in hand with the technologies of the present. Daily life on the farm took on new contours, as Daniel and Laura planned their wedding to celebrate the marriage of their history and the continuity of the farm's heritage. The local community was inspired by the modernization and collaboration initiatives. The following days were filled with intensive work, meetings with technicians and exciting meetings with farmers who saw new hope in the initiative. Over the months, the farm has become a center of learning and solidarity. Young people and adults came together to discuss new ways of producing food sustainably, learning to value both natural resources and the traditions inherited from their ancestors. The constant presence of Laura, now a friend and colleague, symbolizes the evolution of values that once seemed incompatible. Her meetings with residents and active participation in meetings were proof that change is possible when you open your heart to true understanding. If you have been moved by the events of this story so far, do not hesitate to tell us in your comment if you have ever experienced situations where values and feelings took precedence over economic interests. Your participation is essential for this story to reach more people and open new horizons. New challenges have emerged in this vortex of innovation. Sebastian's health, which was already showing signs of weakness, deteriorated during the harsh winter, prompting the community to rally behind the man who brought so much change. Doctors and relatives gathered, and the farm became the center of a movement of feelings and solidarity, where every gesture, word, and help strengthened the invisible bond that unites people. The earth itself, silent witness to countless stories, seemed to respond to the call of hope with new vegetation and surprising fertility. As the days passed, Sebastian's life story took on an epic form. His story has been told not only by those who knew him personally, but also by those who remotely found a reason to continue his fight. Even though Sebastian was weak and his days were numbered, he did not give up participating in the decisions of the Ministry of Finance. All this dedication, sacrifice, and love in every decision inspired everyone around him. Laura and Daniele, now more mature and aware of the importance of family ties, tried to follow the teachings of the peasant patriarch. Each meeting, each planting, and each innovation in the irrigation system became a chapter in a saga, mixing sadness, victory, and dynamic new beginnings. On a calm day, when the sun shone shyly on the horizon and the first rays of light flooded the farm with a serene aura, Sebastian experienced a state of unbreakable peace. Time, which so often seemed an implacable enemy, now became a silent companion. The fatigue that often dominated his body gave way to peace and tranquility. His body, already weakened and exhausted from many battles, was no longer his home. Surrounded by those who loved him and respected his career, he said goodbye serenely, with a calm that inspires respect and emotion. In that moment, discreet tears were confirmed with a smile of gratitude, and each parting word, each gesture of affection confirmed the belief that his legacy would transcend time. The silence that followed was marked not by pain but by astonishment, marking the moment when Sebastian's physical presence gave way to an eternal memory that will continue to illuminate and transform the lives of all the inhabitants of the estate. Sebastian's presence was felt in every corner of the building. The farmer left a deep impression that has withstood time and adversity. The image has remained etched in the memories of those who knew him and shows a man who, despite his insecurities and physical limitations, found reasons to fight for his life. His calm demeanor towards the unknown was a silent lesson to all who came into contact with his stories. Every little gesture he made, every decision he made with the simplicity of someone who knows the value of life, reinforced the belief that true transformation comes from opening one's heart to the unexpected. Sometime later, on a pleasant afternoon, as the sun set behind the hills surrounding the farm, the community gathered to celebrate a new phase of the irrigation project. Laughter and stories of overcoming challenges filled the air, creating an atmosphere of celebration and community. In this scenario, Laura, who had previously judged the stranger based on his origins and appearance, saw in each face the sincerity of a legacy built with sweat and sacrifice. His outlook softens with each story he hears, and the memory of difficult times becomes a source of inspiration to reformulate his own values. At the same time, the sense of loss that weighed on Fazenda Miller's family began to give way to calm acceptance. Even though Sebastian's time on Earth was coming to an end, his influence had already spread irrevocably. Each plant grown, each new cultivation technique, and each smile shared has become a tribute to a man who must never be forgotten. The farm, with its immensity and natural wealth, has become a symbol of resistance and love of life, where the unity of those working together has created a network of support that transcends barriers and differences. We have come to the last part of this particular story. Share your experiences in the comments and tell us if you've ever witnessed a transformation so profound that it changed the way you see the world. Your participation is essential so that more stories of improvement can be told. Towards the end of the story, when the scenario seemed to have reached a precarious balance between hope and reality, a new twist occurred. During the golden autumn, when the wind whispered centuries-old secrets through the leaves of the trees, Laura organized a wonderful party on the farm. The marriage between her and Daniel represented not only the union of two souls, but also the convergence of seemingly distant stories that find harmony in the same destiny. The event brought together people from around the world and revealed stories of struggles, challenges, and above all, the power of a community based on empathy and collaboration. While the preparations for the reception took place with great care and dedication, Laura took the time to remember the moments she experienced with Sebastian. During long walks through the fields, he observed the comings and goings of workers, the natural sounds of the earth, and the gestures of love spread among neighbors. Every detail of this landscape led her to reconsider her life's priorities and transformed her previous stubbornness into a sincere search for meaning. The contrast between the bustling city life and the tranquility of the farm showed that true progress rested on real relationships and respect for the roots that supported every dream. As the celebration approached, the farm was filled with palpable energy. What started as a simple idea for modernization grew into a movement that inspired confidence and renewed the spirit of local farmers. Innovative irrigation techniques have been combined with traditional methods, achieving results that exceed expectations and reinforcing the belief that the future of agriculture can be sustainable without abandoning the traditions of the past. With each new development, the community celebrated a victory that went well beyond numbers and harvests. It celebrated a collective effort in the name of a greater ideal. On the eve of this great event, the atmosphere was full of emotions. Families gathered to prepare for the event and remember stories of struggles and successes. Sebastian's painting, beautifully displayed in an antique frame in the living room, served as a source of inspiration. Her calm performance, marked by years of dedication and challenge, was seen as an invitation to reflect on the importance of valuing what really matters, the bonds that unite people and the ability to transform adversity into opportunity. The upcoming vacation promised not only to bring two destinations together, but also to consolidate a network of solidarity that extended beyond the confines of the farm. When the wedding day arrived, the soft sunlight revealed the most beautiful details of each piece. Carefully tended fields greeted guests with deep greenery, and a gentle breeze seemed to carry a message of hope. During the ceremony, an atmosphere of gratitude and renewal reigned. The relationship between Laura and Daniel symbolized the continuity of a legacy built with sweat and determination. The ceremony ended in a moving atmosphere that revealed the intensity of the individual stories intertwined. As guests enjoyed the celebration, spontaneous conversations began about Sebastian's career and the challenges faced by those who choose to live authentically. Everyone's eyes met, and a discreet smile revealed that true wealth lies in the ability to transform pain into learning and difficulty into strength. On that day, the farm was transformed into a sanctuary full of memories and lessons you will never forget. The light in the eyes of those present reflected the certainty that the heritage of the farmers survives and will be passed on to many generations to come. Before you take this step, subscribe to the channel to continue following this incredible story full of lessons that can change the way you face life's challenges. Over time, the history of the Sebastian estate and project has taken on new contours. The irrigation system, the result of many sacrifices and experiments, produced results that benefited not only the farm, but the entire rural community in the area. Farmers from isolated towns began visiting the farm to learn techniques that, although simple, led to richer, longer-lasting harvests. This exchange of knowledge resolved old rivalries and created a network of cooperation that overcame barriers and prejudices. With each new harvest, hope is reborn, and the seeds of the future are sown in the sweat of those who have never given in to despair. During one of these encounters, Laura's silhouette took on surprising shapes. Once partial and distant, it has become a bridge between two apparently incompatible worlds, the refined world of the city and the rustic authenticity of the countryside. His visits to the farm became moments of learning and introspection. Walking through the orchards and talking with the workers, Laura discovered that the beauty of life lies in the small gestures and in the participation that flourishes in the midst of difficulties. This inner transformation made him understand that the noblest values are not measured in money, but in the ability to touch the lives of others with empathy and dedication. Over the years, Sebastian's story has found life and comfort in knowing that his career has been an inspiration to many. The image of the farmer, immortalized in the memory of those who knew him, was still present in conversations, meetings, and stories of victories in the region. Each new initiative in this area was a tribute to his commitment and wisdom, which he implemented in a discreet but extremely particular way. One spring afternoon, when the scent of flowers mingled with the smell of wet earth after a light rain, the community organized a tribute to Sebastian. This meeting, full of emotion and gratitude, brought together people of all ages who wanted to celebrate the life of a man who never gave up in the face of adversity. Moving reports praised his courage and simplicity, reminding everyone that inner strength can work miracles even when obstacles seem insurmountable. The atmosphere was imbued with a feeling of renewal and confidence in the future, where agricultural heritage mixed with hope for a better future. As the winners recalled the extraordinary events, the unexpected escape that changed Sebastian's destiny, the confrontation with Laura, and the transformation that followed, the estate revealed new stories. Fields expanded with infectious vigor, and improved agricultural techniques produced fruit whose yield exceeded expectations. The combination of tradition and innovation has created a scenario in which progress does not mean abandoning one's roots, but rather appreciating a heritage that has stood the test of time. The Sebastian Project, already consolidated, has served as an example for other regions looking for sustainable and inclusive alternatives. The careers of Laura and Daniel, now linked to that of Sebastian, have been characterized by constant learning. With each new difficulty, they found the motivation to continue, capitalizing on the wisdom inherited from the founder of the farm. The farm, a place full of challenges and tensions, has become a refuge where dreams come true. The stories of victory followed one another in a continuous cycle of struggle and innovation, in which each plant, each irrigation system, and each gesture of solidarity formed a chapter in a story that never truly ended. The people who followed the farm's every moment unfolded were confronted with a deep reflection on the meaning of life. Sebastian's legacy is not limited to the irrigation system or the farm. It was about the transformation of values and the ability to inspire all those who came into contact with its story. Each face full of emotion, each look that conveyed the certainty that life is made of small miracles, reinforced the message that hope can blossom in surprising ways, even when everything seems to be against us. Before we finish, leave a comment on what touched you most about this journey, and subscribe to the channel to continue following stories that changed your life. Your participation is essential so that we can spread more messages of resilience and innovation. The outcome of this story is not the end, but the beginning of a legacy that will continue to inspire generations to come. Despite Sebastian's physical death, his influence remains in the Sebastian Project and in the lives of all those who found a reason to believe in the farm's ability to change the world. The photo of the farmer standing proudly in his room reminded everyone that true wealth is not measured in material goods, but in the sum of stories and lives filled with gestures of love and devotion. The farm has now become a beacon of hope and a concrete example of how challenges can be overcome with determination and unity. The transformation that Laura underwent, previously dominated by prejudices and superficial interests, was a testimony to the human capacity to evolve and open new horizons. By celebrating their love with Daniel and keeping Sebastian's memory alive, they showed that family ties and respect for tradition are a powerful force that can change destiny. Looking back, the community realized that every turning point, every challenge overcome, and every gesture of forgiveness helped create a story that transcends time. The Sebastian Project has now expanded beyond agricultural borders, reaching smallholder farmers in several regions. The support network built over the years has become a source of inspiration for similar initiatives elsewhere. Thus, the story of this simple and lonely man became a hymn to resilience and the importance of protecting not only the earth, but also the values that support it. The saga of Sebastian Miller remains alive in the memory of all those who had the honor of knowing his career. Their legacy, expressed in the fertile soil of the farm and in the innovations that have benefited the entire community, reminds us that life is made of unexpected encounters and decisions that, even in times of adversity, can pave the way to a better future. The image of a calm and determined person also inspires new generations to believe that transformation is inevitable when courage meets opportunity. At the end of this story is the message that the true value of existence is not measured by the length of life, but by the intensity of feelings and the strength of the bonds we create. Every smile, every gesture of generosity, and every step towards a more just world creates a story that transcends time. May Sebastian's path be a guide for those who, despite challenges, find the strength to move forward and change their destiny. Thank you for reaching the end of this inspiring journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay in this community that values hope and transformation. Let this story light your path and encourage you to believe in the possibility of a future full of new achievements and shared love.